folks might have three-wayed into this, so we got a lot of racket there. Steve, are you on the line?
I sure am.
And David Engel?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, I think we're just about ready to get started. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. We got a fantastic webinar lined up today. Lots of exciting news going on in Zango. And just so that some of you remember our roots, this is our backyard. It's starting to waken up in spring. That's Terry down there at a beautiful time we had last summer with a friend of ours who we flew out to spend some time. And we just love being in nature. And one of the reasons for doing this business is to be able to stay at home and enjoy our environment. So I just wanted to give you that kind of a little shot there, something to look forward to. We kind of live in the woods here on 5 acres, and we have, we haven't really moved and built a bigger house. We've just fixed up what we had, and it's just wonderful here. Just checking in on Terry. Are you there, Terry?
Yes, I am, Mark.
Exciting news, wouldn't you say, Terry, coming up in Zango land?
Wow. Zango is amazing. Like Gary Hollister said, we are just beginning, and that is the truth.
Yes, it is, Terry, and we got some really interesting guests on here today. I would say very exciting guests, a couple of folks that will be joining us here in just a minute or so. And just to give you an idea, Zango's story has changed. And I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later at the end of the webinar. And I want you to take in the direction that we're moving into and the new changes, and then I'm going to tell you how to integrate those a little bit and how we should be thinking about this. And what we should be doing with this information coming up here over the next 30, 60, 90 days and throughout the rest of this year. It's pretty exciting stuff. But first of all, I'm going to introduce our first guest. We went to Long Beach, and we had an incredible guest last week, and there was 2 guests, actually, that we picked from the Long Beach that we really wanted to get on and introduce to the folks. And one was Julia Halls, that incredible story last week. If you missed it, I'd highly recommend you checking out that webinar. One of the greatest stories, that we had heard, and she came on last week. And the other person that we snagged was Dr. David Engel, and he was one of the guest speakers at the 20K dinner that night. And so there he is. What a great shot, David. And I'd love to have you come on here and just say hello and maybe introduce yourself, tell us your story a little bit. Are you there, David?
Yes, I'm right here. Thank you.
Your eyes look great in that picture, man.
Thank you.
David, we've kind of known each other for a little while and kind of collaborated a little bit back and forth, and really think that you're one of the most balanced, caring men that I have met, and we're certainly grateful, I think, as a whole, to have you a part of Zango.
Well, thank you. And I remember first meeting you and Terry in Seattle. I was with Corey Citron, and we did a meeting up there, and I spoke on the product.
Right.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, it was excellent.
And that was my first introduction to Terry's amazing follow-up system.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Yes.
So anyway, here you were here. I've got a little shot at the 20K dinner, what it looks like. This is in the Queen Mary, of course, I call it the big boat, and you were kind of nervously excited. I thought you did a fantastic job of coming to your heart, and I just wanted to kind of go through, what that was like and kind of tell your story of your passion and your why.
Okay, absolutely. First of all, in these pictures, that was just this pivotal moment of incredible excitement because all of these people in the room, a lot of them, I've been studying with and training with in Zango, listening to their CDs, going to their seminars, listening to calls, and this is my first experience in network marketing. And so to get up there and speak to these 500 people was a bit daunting, and very exciting. And what got me to that point was I've been a chiropractor for 18 years, but prior to that, my family was into health and nutrition, and they were into using whole food products and organic, lots of whole fruits and vegetables, nutrition-wise. And they were into using aloe vera on the skin, and we didn't go to doctors unless there was an emergency. They trusted the body's ability to heal itself.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons I was open to a whole fruit product like Zango. But the other thing, what really led me to Zango was about 5 years ago. Well, first of all, let me go back farther than that. My parents were very loving, compassionate people. And they saw us children as intelligent beings, and if we were hurt or scared, they would stop what they were doing and just be with us and be loving and kind and generous with us. And about 5 years ago, I was like, why are so many people so judgmental or so critical of themselves? And there's this way that we can be more kind to ourselves.
Right.
I actually created a workshop called Opening to Self-Compassion, teaching people skills on how to be gentler and kinder and actually loving of themselves so that they could then model that to their children or model it to their family.
Right
so
on.
I started teaching this workshop, and it was just amazing, and I got that this was my calling, the difference between career and calling.
Right.
So it's this gift I felt like I was to give. But then when I saw that I had to get X number of people in a room, I had to advertise, all of a sudden it's a business.
Right.
I have to make money off of sharing this gift from my heart. And so one night, 3.5 years ago, I was frustrated about that, and I put out a prayer that went like this: I'm done with money being an issue in my service to humanity. And the next morning, my first patient walked in, Nancy Barr, with a bottle of Zango.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what is this? And I've been approached for, at that point, 15 years by all kinds of supplements as a chiropractor. And I was like, so first the skepticism came up. I'm like, well, it's this purple jungle juice that says it does all these things, and it's network marketing, which I didn't know a lot about.
Right.
And but because of that prayer, I had prayed for that, I was open, and I saw, wow, people are making money with this. And if this is a good product, I could get behind this. So as time went by, what I saw was that, yes, was this the right fit for me to put my heart and energy into and set the workshops on a shelf for the time being.
Right, right.
So that's exactly what I've done. I've set that aside, and I'm putting my whole heart and soul into this. And early on, from Ray Heron and a few of the leaders, I kept hearing, you need to have a why. Your why needs to be big enough.
Right.
And someone even said, why that makes you cry. And so when I look at what drives me to keep going and learning this industry and not quit and make it happen, is bottom line is as a world community, I'm not okay with the way children are being treated. I'm not okay that one child gets abused or starved, or it's just not okay with me. And, I've committed my life to be a part of that solution by teaching compassion. And so here's this company comes along, and you guys all know what Zango's about.
Right.
I had even created a vision of a world where children are loved and safe. And here, Operation Kids, until every child is okay. And seeing the video on Zango Goodness of the distributors and founders rolling up their sleeves and going to work, and in the fall, the meal pack. I have to tell you, when they put up on the screen at convention that a meal pack counts as 100 PV, that brought me to tears. That's our company. Linking in, helping starving children, helping children all over the world. And so that, to me, what keeps me going, what gets me up in the morning, what gets me on the phone, what talking to my distributors, doing meetings, going to all the conventions, it's for the children. It's not about me.
David, I've been reading a book recently about the different levels of dreaming, and we have dreams. And I think I might have mentioned this to you that really are all about self. You know, we want a car or something like that. You know, maybe we want a diamond ring or we want to travel. You know, and there's nothing wrong with those kinds of dreams. But I think there's another level of dreaming that doesn't have I in it. And that's what I admire and respect, that your dream is a dream that really doesn't have anything to do with what David wants and needs, but a vision for something greater than that, greater than yourself, and a vision to have an impact on this world, on the world in some positive place. And actually what is interesting about your dream is you not only have the dream, but you have a practical way of actually doing it. So in other words, it's one thing to dream about a peaceful world, but what are you going to do today? And what can you do tomorrow? And these daily little small actions that we can take are what changes the world. So I really acknowledge you for the level of dreaming that you have here.
Thank you. And you know what you just said about daily? About a year ago, I was thinking, okay, I have all these visions and goals for the future. What if I die tomorrow? Because I actually almost died in a car accident when I was 16.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long I'm gonna live. So what is my daily purpose? And I concluded about a year ago, what does the world need? It needs more love and more kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided my daily purpose was going to be loving and kind, starting with myself, and then sharing that with others.
Yeah, and I think all of our dreams and goals can be like that. I mean, people too often are waiting for some future event in order to start manifesting or being or experiencing their dreams. And the question is really, what can you do today to be that? There's lots of little steps that you can take today. And so, and I love that quote of Gandhi, you've got to be the change you want to see in the world. You have to be that today. So that's very powerful.
Exactly. And you know what? I want to summarize that story of my why and how I found Zango. Here's the conclusion. This is the future that Zango's going to allow me to express. Is I will be financially free, and I will be able to teach my workshops on a donation basis all over the world, at churches, nonprofits, wherever. I'm going to get my book finished on self-compassion as well, and teach that workshop on a donation basis so anybody can take the workshop, not just people with money. And the money that's donated, half can go to the church, and the other half to a children's charity in the community that I'm teaching. And, oh my God, I mean, that
Powerful.
to me feels amazing. The thought of being able to give my gift fully and have any money donated go to a church or nonprofit and children's charities, that's what's possible with Zango. And the other
David,
part of my goal is, there's people on this phone that are, I imagine, that are making, I know there's people making over $100,000 a month in Zango. And the fact that someone can do that, I know that's possible. For the children, I will figure out how to do that. And I plan to donate 10% of that to buy meal packs, which would be $10,000 a month, which will buy 87 meal packs a month, which will feed 52,000 children a year.
Wow. That's hot, man. I love the way you put that together.
That's life-changing.
Yeah, so that's my project.
Well, David, let's talk a little bit about your Zango journey. And naturally, you got excited about the product at some point as well. Once you saw and started working with it, how did that come into being?
Well, I was very skeptical. Yeah, because I saw a brochure that said 33 reasons, and I had to answer the question myself: how could one product help so many conditions? And I found that answer. The answer is we're a community of 70 trillion cells within our body, and all of those cells come together to make up tissues, which come together to make up organs, which come together to make up systems, which make up you. Well, on a cellular level, as you guys all know, we're bombarded with free radicals. Science shows 10,000 hits a day per cell, affecting our DNA and everything. So we need massive antioxidants. And then long-standing free radical damage leads to what? Inflammation.
Right.
So, you know, a whole food nutraceutical like Zango, you drink it and it's assimilated because it's a liquid. It goes in on a cellular level. It's obvious these xanthones cross the blood-brain barrier. So we're seeing that in every system of the body, based on a cellular level, the body, we're supporting this community that we have. I like Bruce Lipton talks about it as, you know, each cell in your body, you could take a cell out and put it in a Petri dish solution. It'll live without you for 2 or 3 months. Each cell is like a living little organism.
Yes, and they communicate with each other. As he talks about in his book too, that the cells within your body and the one in the Petri dish can still communicate.
Yeah, it's quite. Our bodies are absolutely amazing. And so what I saw, I had to try this on myself, my family, my patients, and after a while, what I began to see. I used to work with nutrition and water fasting, and we would get people that were really sick on a lot of medications. We had an MD, and we would help them get well by cleaning out their bodies.
Right.
Well, 2 years ago, I had a patient come to me, and she was on 9 medications, swollen knees, swollen ankles, severe back pain, disabled for 8 years, depressed, basically didn't have any hope left around the allopathic system or for her life. And I was like, well, hey, try this juice.
Yeah, right.
Because as a chiropractor, there's not much I could do for somebody that has that much stuff going on. You know, I could do a little bit chiropractically. But what happened with her within 3 months not only amazed me, it shocked me. Her back pain was 85% gone. She lost 25 pounds, mainly from inflammation and swelling. And she joined Curves for Women.
Wow.
Depression gone, restless leg syndrome gone, smile on her face. She's like, David, everybody's going, what are you doing? And I'm just telling them I'm drinking this juice, and they're like, they want my juice. And she's like, it's my juice. She goes, you know, what do I do? I go, well, you sell it. You're a distributor. So that was a pivotal point for me. I thought, I've never in my life seen anything do this for people.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and I think you know, it's easy to take that for granted. You know, I think, isn't it? You know, but it's an absolutely amazing juice that can do incredible things for the body and literally change people's lives.
Yeah, one of the points that touched me is I did an international call for a year and a half. And there was a woman who had 3 grandchildren with autism that benefited very well. And the word got to a pediatrician in Los Angeles who had a 3-year-old little girl with autism and kind of a violent form, and she was acting out. And all he had were these psychotropic drugs, powerful brain drugs, and he was calling me for advice on how much to give her of this juice. And that was just so touching. You know, that the allopathic profession, you know, Dr. Tutla and, you know, all these people that are coming in that are open enough to take a look at something natural. And one thing I like to say about one of the things I would teach people about taking this product, the difference between a nutraceutical and a pharmaceutical is a whole food nutraceutical works on a cellular level, balancing all the systems together. And it's a pan-systemic effect, meaning all systems, whereas your pharmaceuticals, they're extracted from nature, they're synthetically made, and they're highly concentrated to target one system.
Right.
And when you create a dramatic effect in one system, you throw off the systems around it. And that,
yeah, which is basically what we're talking about is side effects. That's what side effects are because you're upsetting the balance of nature, right?
Yeah, that's how I describe side effects. You're disrupting a natural balance. So a whole food nutritional product. I mean, these xanthones, catechins, and anthocyanins, they dance with our cells on a cellular level, working with all the cells at once to create that balance.
Fantastic. Terry, anything you wanted to add here? I can...
Well, David, it's been so amazing for me as I do all the follow-up and to hear the stories. And what's fascinating is you could line up 6 people that are all female, and they all have arthritis and a few other things wrong. And the juice will actually go in and rebalance the body wherever it feels it needs it most important. So people, of course, always say, well, what will this juice do for me? Well, not all arthritic people are the same. And so all you can really do is say, well, just try it, but it's going to go in and rebalance your body wherever it's needed. And so we always have to understand that everybody's different, and it may take different time for everyone. But it's just fascinating to be able to hear the stories and to listen to you and to know how many people are helping out there.
Absolutely.
Well, anything else you wanted to add, David? We're going to get into the new product launch here, which I think we've got a good intro into it because we're going to be talking about another form of whole food nutrition. Anything you wanted to add before we jump into those slides?
Well, I would like to add the founders of our company, what I've seen in 3.5 years that I've been involved has absolutely amazed me. From up in Seattle, giving up their seats along with a lot of the top distributors, sitting on the floor because the room was packed and they weren't letting any more people in, and that modeling, incredible heart that they have, and the modeling that they do, rolling up their sleeves and traveling to other countries and going to work. I was at the 100K dinner at the convention, and I was sitting at a table, and Gary Hollister was at the table to my left, and Brian Davis at a table to my right. And after Gary spoke and got a standing, everyone stood up and clapped. As he came to his table to sit down, Brian walked from the other table over to Gary and pulled out his seat and put his hand on his shoulder as he sat down. And there was I watched that happen. And as simple as that seems, it touched me very deeply because I just got how much these guys care for each other.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're like a family.
Yes, they are.
And that affects all of us.
Yeah, I mean, the intention that they have, is what creates this company, and I saw that clearly that they have a powerful intention, and that affects the whole, because we're all in this together. We're like a community of cells as well. Well, thanks a lot, David. I appreciate you coming on. Hang on a bit here as we get into some of these. You may have some comments on our new 365 product, but I got to show this picture of David giving me an adjustment after the Long Beach dinner on the floor of the Queen Mary, and that's Mike and Melissa Erskine watching in. This was very, very funny. What a story this was. I had trouble sleeping that night, and somewhere during the middle of the night, in and out of sleep, I had this little thought that planted in my brain that I was gonna. You came into my brain, and that I wanted to get an adjustment from you, and it just came in from no place. And then I forgot about it. The next morning, I woke up in the shower, and as I was tilting my head back, my neck spasmed, and I thought about that thought. And I thought, what came first here, the chicken or the egg? So that's a picture of that adjustment, and I feel a lot better since then. And David has a lot of fun. This is him at convention. and dressed. What's the name of that guy?
As Austin Powers.
Austin Powers, yeah. So you have a great sense of humor as well. So thanks for coming on, and hang on, David, as we get into this new product launch and what it's all about. 365 Whole Food Nutrition. I was a little concerned when I heard Zango was coming out with a vitamin mineral product because I'm a whole food proponent from a long time ago. And I have known, we started working with Whole Food Nutrition back in about 1995, and it always made sense to me that, you know, that the body is designed to take its nutrients from food. And I also became aware that a lot of the vitamins that you're taking are simply not absorbed into the body. And we've heard stories, and I heard a couple of brand new stories yesterday. I've heard these stories over the years. Anytime you talk about vitamins, it seems like these stories come up about people with septic system finding whole vitamin tablets in the bottom of the septic system to the point where you can still read the label on them. They have not broken down at all because they're in a form that the body is not familiar with, and they're not very well absorbed, if at all. And in fact, I went to a seminar many, many years ago of a proponent of whole food nutrition, and he told me that the actual synthetic vitamins, which are USP vitamins, that are actually made in 55-gallon drums and shipped out, to various vitamin manufacturers, technically speaking, the molecular structure of that particular vitamin, let me pull something like vitamin B6, does not have to be 100% identical to the molecular structure that you would see in a whole food. So it's a totally different concept, and that's why I'm going into this, to let you know that there is a big difference between whole food nutrition and normal way of getting vitamins. So 365 is our new product that we're launching. It's a multivitamin, mineral, and nutrition formula. And it says on here with superior absorption, and it's my understanding that Zango has existing science and research on this that verifies or proves, in a sense, that it is much better absorbed than other kinds of nutrition. Certainly this whole food blend is consistent with our whole fruit philosophy. They have an advanced chelated technology which utilizes amino acids. And basically, by attaching amino acids to different nutrients, you increase absorption. And we're going to have an AM and PM with 8 ounces daily, and 3 ounces of Zango juice. We'll make a daily nutrition regime. So, yes, we're switching gears here. And what I see with this is that, Dr. Templeman, most of all of the doctors that have been going around talking about Zango always say, listen, you still need vitamins and minerals, and people are going other places, for their vitamins and minerals. So why not get them from us, Zango? Whole food phytonutrients, they have 12 fruits and 12 vegetables in there. And I've talked about the science and research. Here's some of the possible health benefits: supporting cardiovascular health, immune health, healthy energy levels. It's a powerful antioxidant, so additional antioxidant support can support cognitive health, can support prostate health. There's a formula in there for men, and there's a formula in there for women that will support bone and joint health, skin health, cellular protection, and overall health. So this is kind of an outline of the nutrition breakdown. Yes, a men and a women's product, full spectrum vitamins and minerals in these 12 fruits and vegetables. And these are actually have some mangosteen concentrate in there as well, which will, keep it unique. It'll be the only vitamin mineral product out there with mangosteen in it, so it'll be completely unique no matter which way you cut it. Of course, not enough in there to not need your juice, but enough to give a synergistic blend to the other fruits and vegetables. Some of the nutrients you can see here, all of your essential nutrients, and lots of possible benefits from that. There's a list of the fruits and vegetables that are in there, and it covers the board very, very well. We got plum, cranberry, blueberry, strawberry, blackberry, bilberry, cherry, apricot, papaya, orange, grape, and pineapple. The point is that everybody knows they need lots of fruits and vegetables, and yet how many servings are you getting from your fruits and vegetables on a daily or monthly basis, right? And so it's not like, you don't need to eat your food anymore, but you're missing elements from these fruits and vegetables because you're not consuming them. And when's the last time you had a papaya? When's the last time you had cherries? Well, maybe only once a year when they're fresh. And so all of these fruits and vegetables have different phytonutrients, and different colors in fruits have different sorts of nutrients available to them. And so it's a synergistic effect, and this is kind of covering all the bases of the things that you might be missing in your diet. It's a supplement. And this is how it comes. They're coming in boxes, basically, in a little packet, very, very convenient. And the company told me, yes, they looked at a liquid kind of vitamin. We're a liquid product, but they saw a lot of problems with liquid vitamins in that the minerals in a liquid vitamin product tend to overpower the vitamins and make the vitamins not readily absorbable. And so they have a lot of problems with vitamins. Of course, a liquid vitamin with vegetables would maybe very difficult to get the taste down, and also think about portable, So this is a daily vitamin. They come in capsules, and you can put them in your pocket, an AM and PM. There's 60 then packets, if you will, AM at 30 AM, 30 PM for men and women, and $60 will be the cost of that for a month's supply. Terry, do you want to add anything? I know you're excited about this, the ladies' formula.
I really am. Over the years, like Art said, we have done and tried to do different vitamins, and with my digestive system, I struggle with that. And Art's always having to muscle test me to see if I will be able to digest it. And so I've over the time, I take extra Zango, hoping that will sustain me because of the digestion area. So with this being a fruit and vegetable compound, this is very exciting for me because these things I will be able to digest because it's in a food. And so I will have perfect balance. And so this is just a really exciting time for Zango, an exciting time for all of us, because like Art says, everybody takes vitamins. It's just, is our body able to absorb them? And I think that's the most important part. So, I'm just really, really excited. It's going to be a great thing for Zango, but a great thing to help all of the people out there in the world that are constantly looking for a food source vitamin.
Yeah, and I had a conversation with Aaron Garrity, and talking about the product earlier in the week, and he said that they grew up, Joe and him, they grew up in the health and wellness industry. They have taken vitamins for years, and this is a knockout product. They're really excited about it. They know their stuff, and so yes, it's going to be launching in the Orlando Regional. Be able to buy it on site. And that's coming up May 30th and 31st, also the day after trainings on the 1st. And so it'll be available for purchase there. Also, there's a Glimpse VIP program launch. So getting to Orlando, I know a lot of people are wanting to go to Orlando now to be the first to try our new 365 and also getting involved in the Glimpse launch in fall. Terry, so what do you think? Getting out to Orlando would be a good idea?
Well, this is going to be like a convention. It really is. I would not be surprised if we don't have over 5,000 people there, because this is just so exciting to have the launch, yes, of the skincare that you'll be able to get on the VIP if you're there. And now this new product, they said they're actually going to have live product there for everyone to purchase. And it's just very exciting. And I know they're going to come out with a dynamite looking box, and how, they're in little foil wrap papers, not foil, but you actually will rip the side, and so those are easy to put in your purse, in your pocket, whereas in the past, I put things in my purse or my wallet, and then the capsule would come apart, and so you're not going to have any of that. This is going to be so easy to travel with, and so, this is exciting.
And before we go on, David, did you have any comments at all on this? I know you love the whole food idea.
That's the main thing for me, is that it is a whole food nutrition, which allows better absorption and balance back to the pan-systemic, working with all the cells at once and in a form that allows them to be absorbed and utilized efficiently.
Right, exactly. So great product coming up, and we'll talk a little bit more how to integrate this into your business. Also, one of the things that they're going to be announcing in Orlando is they're adding an additional 3% bonus pool that is actually going to be including 365 and Glimpse. It'll be a non-juice bonus pool in addition to the existing 3% bonus pool. So they're adding an additional 3% bonus pool. And this, what I'm excited about, is this bonus pool is going to be available to 5Ks and up. And it's going to be based on your volume of the non-juice products that you promote and go throughout your organization. And because it's going to be based on GV6, and because 5Ks only qualify for GV5, it's going to be heavily weighted to put additional money into the bonus pool for 5Ks. And in order to qualify for this bonus pool, you must be a 5K and up and have 300 PV. So they're encouraging people to add an additional product like a Glimpse or a 365. And so, you know, if you're not a 5K, you want to get to 5K, I would say this will probably start, it's going to be on a quarterly basis. It'll either start in June or July. So you want to be, you know, if you're not a 5K, you want to be really going for that 5K position here over the next 60 to 90 days so you can begin to qualify for this pool. And I think there's going to be some pretty sweet checks being paid out to those that are working this program. And, yeah, we're shifting the gears, aren't we? You know, from a company whose original mission was really to dominate the wellness category. I mean, I've talked about this on previous calls. This was their mission. And talking to Beverly about this, that the founders always had the vision of dominating each segment of the wellness category, but the juice took off so fast and went so far that they never had time or didn't feel it was right to then focus in on the rest of their vision, which is dominating the wellness category. And so that's where we're going to here, aren't we? We're moving into dominating the wellness category with a category now of whole food nutrition, with a category creating whole food product, and also the Glimpse skincare. And so now I've got to introduce another great guest I'm excited about having on here. And Steve Jaffe is somebody that we met last year at the convention, a phenomenal gentleman, grateful to have his background and his acumen, his business acumen on the team. And Steve, are you there?
Absolutely. Very happy to be on the call.
Hey, Steve, and I'm going to have you talk a little bit about, from your business background, what you think the launch of these products will do. But I've got to bring up your PowerPoint here, which I couldn't get them to integrate. So I'm just going to bring it up and switch over. There we go. So, Steve, how are you today?
I'm doing terrific. I am just so excited about the new product launch and all the great things that are happening with this company. And gosh, I find that sometimes I can't even get to sleep at night for a few hours because I'm just so revved up about all the things that are going on. So I am doing terrific.
Well, Steve, why don't you give folks a little idea of your background and what you've been involved in and how you got involved in Zango?
Sure. And first things first, I just wanted to thank David. That was amazing. That was so inspiring earlier on the call. That was just phenomenal. And it's been such a pleasure to get to know you, Art and Terry, and to meet you at convention and to connect thereafter. It's just a real honor to be on the call. So my background, from the Boston area originally. I currently live in New York and lived in California for several years, worked as a website developer earlier in my career. And at that time, it was kind of the dot-com bubble was happening, and it was exciting. But I've always been entrepreneurial, and I decided to make a career change, went to business school, got my MBA at the MIT Sloan School of Management in Boston, and learned a few things there. It was fun, and made a transition into the investment field. So I spent a few years after business school working as an investment analyst, and I worked at GE Capital and helped close about $250 million of investments there. And then I worked in the hedge fund industry, basically picking stocks and finding good companies to invest in and doing the research on them, interviewing the management team, and making stock recommendations. And got introduced to Zango in kind of a sort of a serendipitous way, like a lot of us. I sort of in a former life years ago, I used to be a professional outdoor instructor. I used to lead mountaineering trips and backpacking trips and other types of climbing trips. Just a major outdoors lover. And I put together a whitewater rafting trip for about 10 friends down in West Virginia. And there was a friend of a friend that got invited named Carl Hunter, who became my sponsor in Zango, just a phenomenal guy. And it was kind of a several-hour trek to get down there. Long story short, he was drinking the juice, and we got to talking, and I decided to try some juice. Had some lower back pain I was struggling with at the time. That kind of went away after a few weeks on the juice, and kind of kicked around drinking the juice for about a year and a half. And then I decided to make a career change, started an online marketing business last year, decided to take a look at the Zango business opportunity, and everything's kind of transformed since then. The opportunity is much more attractive than I had originally understood, and I decided to really to build this, and it's just been such a wonderful experience. So I got on 2Case, started drinking 2 cases of juice, and it just had a dramatic impact on my health. I had some digestion problems. Those are basically gone. So I kind of came into it as a juicer, and then really took a hard look at the business, and have had just phenomenal results, and just continue to tell the story, and really just enjoying the experience. It's been amazing.
Yeah, you've been having a lot of fun with it. I know, Steve, and you put together your own little PowerPoint here, which we're going to walk through here. And I've asked you to highlight some of the things that are just working for you. There's not one way to do this business. I don't know if you've all noticed that out there. And so we like to bring on people that are doing things in a different way, that you may get some kind of plant a seed, Steve, in other people's hearts and minds that may help them in their business. So what's working for your Zango team here?
Yeah, absolutely. I cherry-picked sort of 4 key things to walk through, and I tried to pick out some things that maybe haven't been as focused on in some of these calls. We're having some exciting growth, and folks are getting great results with the juice. Everyone's businesses are growing. And really where it starts, where we continually come back to is having the right mindset. Really, our belief, and by our, I mean myself, Carl Hunter, his girlfriend Amy Huntelman, other folks on the team, Cynthia Schwartzberg, Pamela Thompson, we're really kind of all on the same page that, growth and change and development and creation, it all starts with the mind and having, just a mindset of abundance and continually working to cultivate that. So what's really working for us is to be transparent in that, to, be explicit and say, hey, this is part of the equation, and we could do all the prospecting in the world, we could do a million things, but unless we're really grounded in what's our why, and are we focused on cultivating our minds with the spirit of abundance, that's just so important. Right. So what's working for us is really promoting live events, Zango events, promoting getting on conference calls, attending training, some of it outside of Zango, and encouraging folks on the team to continue to expose themselves to training. We also do some affirmations and declarations, things like that. We sort of support people that want to go in that direction. A lot of this comes down to supporting folks in the journey. This is a process, and it's a lot of it is coming down to just understanding that everyone's got a different perspective on the opportunity and their goals and where they are. So we just make it kind of a work in progress, and continue to come back to this and practice what we preach. I'm continually listening to audio training and attending different workshops and whatnot. But what's really working is just supporting people in it. So that's kind of where it all starts.
Steve, one of the things that I notice is just such a strong synergy between your team and the group. There's a group energy. You guys are very well connected as a team and as a group. And what is the definition of team? Together, everyone achieves more, I guess. And that's not something you can put on a slide. I mean, where does that come from?
Yeah, I mean, it isn't something you can just put on a slide. I think a lot of it, frankly, comes from a recognition that this is a team sport, that this is not, we're not just a bunch of solo artists out there. I'm a big believer that, if people get together and work together to create something, we're co-creating success. And I'm a big believer. It's all about co-creation, that it's not about Steve Jaffe and his vision and everyone else's vision. It's about we're a team and we support each other and help each other. So a lot of it comes down to getting together in person, for folks that are local. We take advantage of opportunities to connect sort of belly to belly. And we're not always able to do that with folks that don't live in the region. We speak, I'm on the phone about every day or every other day with most of the key builders on the team, and they're doing the same with their folks. A lot of it, frankly, also comes down to just being available and taking phone calls sometimes at random times at night if folks have something that's critical.
Right.
Carl and I went out and helped Pamela and Brad Thompson, just two amazing leaders in our organization, launch their first juice party. And, we drove about, we thought we were going to drive about 3 hours to do that. It turned into a 6-hour drive due to a big traffic accident. But, I guess that was a real signal of, hey, we're going to support you, and, we want you to succeed. So a lot of it just comes down to supporting folks and just being real. And
we're going to talk about that in a little bit here, but you've got a great chart that you put on your team head count, of how your growth has been going here. And, of course, I can't help but notice that you had a nice turnout in Orlando or at the convention, which was basically October here, 10/07, the end of October. And you can see, I know that, you can see how your momentum has grown since then.
Yeah, absolutely. This is really about what I call communicating for growth and success. I come from a very sort of quantitative background in terms of my approach to business generally. And I like to weave that into our communication in ways that are empowering for people. Frankly, if someone runs a downline report and they've got 10 people on their team, if 3 people come on board, A, they may not be aware of it. B, their team just grew 30%.
Right, yeah.
That's major. Corporations, if they grow 30% over 2 years, that's considered, 2 good years. So what I'm seeing is what's really working is reminding people what's happening with our team and getting that. We're using a structuring strategy called streamlining.
Right.
And so we really are, everyone is really building the same leg together. We really are a team. And so I do things like send out a chart every month. Here's how fast we've grown. Here's how we're growing, and help people understand the extent to which that growth is occurring every moment, every hour. And a lot of it comes down to speaking in terms that are very focused on growth. Because growth.
Yeah, I like that. And I think people sometimes have ideas that they should be growing 20% per month. But conducting and duplicating juice parties, yes, that's been working quite well for you. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. A great example of this, I mentioned Pamela and Brad Thompson they're doing weekly juice parties. Cynthia Schwartzberg has done some juice parties. This has been very effective. We're seeing around 90% sign up, and the key things that are working are doing it weekly. It's so important to do juice parties regularly if one wants to move in that direction or to really open up to that possibility. So there's a forum for folks to send their folks. So if you do a juice party, you sign up folks, and they can send their folks to the next party. That's really working for us. What's also working really well is conducting the first 1 to 2 parties to get people trained. That's been very good.
Doing them for them, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, doing the first one for them and kind of having a debrief afterwards, talking through how it went, what we could have improved. We also use a teaching document that Pamela and Brad Thompson created. They come from a very strong educational background as administrators and teachers. And so we've sort of systematized our approach to doing juice parties, and that's been really helpful in promoting duplication. The last thing I want to mention on this really quickly is something that I haven't heard others present in this domain, and it might be a little unique. What's really been exciting and what's really worked well in promoting getting folks rolling with the idea of doing juice parties is to walk through a forecast of what kind of growth could occur if they were to start doing juice parties. I've done this exercise with several folks on the team, and it's created a lot of excitement and helped move the needle for folks and getting them into doing juice parties. So really quickly, what I'll do is put together a little chart like this and say, hey, if you were to start doing juice parties, and even if you only had 4 people per week, to get people clear, hey, you can have success even with small numbers initially. If
Right.
you just kept doing that, 4 meetings, 4 people per party, 4 times a month, once a week, that's 16 attendees a month, 90% sign up. That's about 14 sign-ups a month. And if the average, additional volume per sign-up is about $160, $170, which is roughly what it is on our team right now, that's about $2,300 in new volume. And with the headcount addition of 14 people a month, one can build a 20K structure from say 5K fairly quickly, if the sponsorships and the placements work into place
Right.
in the most profitable way. This is a real eye-opening exercise, and we're finding it to be really helpful to kind of help connect the dots and say, hey, roll out with juice parties, and you could have the structure in place in 2 or 3 months to go 20K, and then it's just going to be a question of getting the volume there. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So that's really
and
what
actually, it's just a way of duplicating, another way of duplicating, and imagine 4 juice parties a month duplicating into 8 and 16 and 24 and 36. It could be mind-boggling.
Yeah,
one of the
exactly.
things that you're working on, and we've talked a little bit about this on compensation. We don't have a lot of time to go into this, but the idea of carroting, which really to me is a method of you've got people sitting on the fence that are interested, that have looked at it, and they haven't made a decision. And so you've used that occasionally in the past to really get people off of the fence a lot, right?
Absolutely. And it's been incredibly powerful. The structuring strategy we use involves, placing people one below another. With other structuring strategies, that involve placing folks one below another in different ways. This is a tactic that one could use, and very quickly, the things that are really working for us are to accelerate the addition of 1 to 2 people into 4, 5, 6. We've had 12 people roll on board very quickly. The way this works is when we have somebody who signed up, we will hold the application for a couple days before submitting it to Zango, and we will communicate out to all of the builders on the team, game on, that's kind of the term we use. We've got somebody. If you were to bring somebody on board, we could put this new person below them. Your new person would start with revenue flowing right up to them immediately. They'd have the makings of a team started to be built under them right away. They'd be guaranteed a check, and it generates a lot of excitement. What's happened is folks have gotten out to their prospects, and again, folks that are on the fence, they're compelled to make a decision. And to give folks just a signal of how powerful this has been, our team grew 36% in 3 days in October during a period when we used carroting. We had 5, 6, 7, 8 people come on board in like a 3-day period. So this chart represents headcount over time. The places where it's vertical mean that the headcount's increasing and almost no time is passing. We had another period after a convention where we had about 15 people come on board in a 3-day period. That was kind of what you were looking at a little earlier, Art. This has been huge. It took us 6 months to build 60% of the team. It took us 5 days to build the other 40%.
Right, yeah. So it's another technique for those that are working in and working a team together. Steve, one of the things before we get off here, because we are running out of time, of course, as an MBA, you wanted to wrap up your conversation on, looking at it from a business standpoint with your background.
Absolutely.
Zango.
Yeah, this is really, just very quickly here, what I think is so critical for folks to understand. There are very few companies like this company. I consider this, I would feel very fortunate if I saw an investment opportunity in a company that was this attractive more than once a decade. And, coming from a background where I was, assessing companies to invest in terms of publicly traded stocks, you just don't see companies like this very often with 90% market share and a huge range of competitive advantages. I'll touch on 2 very quickly that often don't get enough attention. First of all, Zango has the lowest cost position for buying the fruit. Zango is the single largest purchaser of mangosteen fruit in the world through Wild Flavors. And with that, it's got huge buying power and is able to secure a lower average price than competitors for the fruit, which is the core raw material. So that's very important to understand. Second, and I'll come back to the relevance on that, Zango is the largest manufacturer or marketer of premium quality mangosteen juice in the world by a long shot. So it's got huge economies of scale. That means it has the lowest average production costs, because the more you produce of something, the cheaper it is per unit to produce.
Right.
So the net result of this is a company that is currently dominating the industry for mangosteen products. And I don't see any credible threat from competitors to dislodge Zango from that market leadership position. And the reason is because if a competing company wanted to produce a premium quality mangosteen juice, for example, it would do so at higher cost. It could not produce a product at the same level of quality, if quality is a function of, say, the number of mangosteen fruits per bottle, for example. Any competitor that tried to produce a very high quality mangosteen juice would pay more for the fruit, they pay more for the production, and if they tried to match Zango in terms of price, those competitors would secure a lower margin. They'd make less profit. So that's not a game that I see competitors really wanting to play. I don't see a highly credible threat that competitors would try to achieve very strong market share in the premium mangosteen product space. And as a result, competitors are being forced to move down market and produce lower quality mangosteen products at lower cost. And frankly, I don't see that story really changing. I think Zango maintains its market leadership position in the premium
Steve,
product space.
as I'm listening to you and knowing your background in picking companies, I mean, if Zango was a public company, I mean, what kind of an IPO do you think they would have?
Honestly, if this were a public company, it'd probably be too late to get in. I think that Wall Street would be all over this. It's got an incredibly strong management team. It's got a proven product. It has dominant market share. I think probably if this were a publicly traded company, I know in the hedge fund industry that I came out of, everybody would know about this company. Everybody would be all over it. The stock price would have probably run to the moon already. So we're very, very lucky, and folks really, I believe, need to get that this is a company that, if it were a publicly traded stock, the opportunity to invest would probably have already passed in many ways. But because it's a privately traded company, not everyone knows about it. It's got such huge potential, and we have an opportunity to build large organizations now. So with the new products that are coming down the pipeline, take the 365 launch as a signal that Zango is ramping up delivering new products. So really now's the time to build a larger distributor base so that these products can roll out through the organization, and you can see those 20, 25% volume spikes when new products are rolled out. So this is just not the kind of company you see very often. And, I could go on and on about why that's the case, but bottom line, really get that. That's real. That's not a fantasy. That's not hype.
And Steve, what occurs to me?
Like this very often.
You know what occurs to me? I mean, all of us distributors are in a sense shareholders. In a way, we're all shareholders. We're all part of this, almost like shareholders. So thank you for coming on, Steve. I really appreciate it. Only got a couple minutes left, and so thank you for coming on, Steve. Really appreciate your time and bringing your business acumen and having us look at Zango in a little bit different way.
Thanks so much.
I just want to point out that Zango has a new story now, and I'm going to be getting into this more. But the story of dominating the mangosteen category is now expanding and dominating the wellness category. So we're going to get into that a little bit more. Also wanted to mention the Jump Starter Pack that's available. We've talked about that a little bit before. You can sign people up on this right now. Includes a 2-for-1 Orlando or convention. So if you got anybody that you're signing up over the next 30 days that are going to be wanting to go to Orlando, you want to sign them up on that Jump Starter Pack. The Share It campaign, I believe, is ending the end of the month. So you have an incredible opportunity. Talk about getting people off of the fence, that haven't made a decision yet. The opportunity to get a free membership on a 2-case ADP, I think, will be ending at the end of this month. So that's another tool to get people to make a decision. Don't forget about Zango Invasion on Monday night, where We're going to watch on Zango.tv some of the glimpse information and some more stuff on what you've heard today. So don't miss Zango Invasion, 7 o'clock on Monday. And Orlando, be there or be square, May 30th, 31st, day after trainings on June 1st. I'd like to thank you all for coming on. Anything you wanted to add, Terry, before we close out?
No, I just see it as a very exciting time with Zango and with all of us going to Orlando. I mean, I see a lot of momentum happening. And so my question to you is, you want to catch this wave. Start paddling now because Zango's on the move.
Thanks, everybody. Yes.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David, Engel.
You're welcome.
Jaffe. What I'd like to do is open up the line, and I'd like you to give our guests a little round of applause, a little cheer at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, guys.